Rachel Daguit from ABS-CBN. Monsignor Santos brought out the topic that you were threatened with the transfer of some private teachers from the private schools to public because of the high salary. So I'd like to ask Brother Luistro, how can DepEd help? How could DepEd address this problem, knowing that next year there will be a 1 billion cut to the budget, I believe?
Well, actually, there's an increase from 175 billion last year's budget to around 207 in what was presented in Congress. There are currently some programs. One is the GASPE law, which allows some students to be subsidized in private schools. So that's currently covered both in high school and in college. If we do the numbers in the public schools, we average around 8,000 plus per student per year. With GASPE, we have this range of sometimes subsidizing one student to 5,000, or if it's in NCR or Region 4A, we subsidize the school 10,000 per student per year. So, especially if it's the first one, you recognize that there are some efficiencies for the government in terms of subsidizing education. So, the bottom line is, it will be more efficient for the government to subsidize or give scholarships to some students who cannot be absorbed anyway in the public schools because of the current shortages. So even from a practical point of view, I think that program, as mentioned by Monsignor Jerry, has already been increased from 700,000 students to 1 million students next school year. But we need also enabling laws to do that. Because currently it is, there will be some legal complications. If the government gives or pays private groups for educational purposes. There are various ways of doing it, but essentially the government cannot do that with private groups. So I think some of those things will have to be included. In some governments, for example, like Singapore or other countries, private schools can get subsidy for buildings or for salaries of teachers. Now, in the Philippines, that is not possible. And currently, the only way to do that is via the GASPE law, and that is through a kind of a subsidy for those under ESC, or in the past, it was called also EBS.
Is there any follow-up question?
Clarification, Sir. Bali, sir, pwede din kumuha ng subsidy for the teacher's salary from the GASPE law, so we could also
yes,
increase.
That is currently also done now. But I think the appeal of Monsignor Jerry is really how are there, aside from those that are already done, we could do two things. One is, can we increase the budget for that, or can we have another enabling law to allow us other types? I'll give you one example. In our brainstorming, we were talking about rather than for the government to build new schools, there may be some infrastructure, small private schools, Catholic schools, where the enrollment is really down. And it will save the government if we have the ability for the Department of Education, let's say, to, in one sense, contract out the operation of one school to a private group. But the law does not allow us to do that now. But these are some of the things that perhaps could be discussed in Congress or in the Senate.